Next, number 18. Okay. Tell me when to start.
Sure, Maharaj. Yes, Maharaj.
Okay?
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, my dear devotees, all glories to Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So today we're hearing from Srimad Bhagavad Gita. That is, as it is, chapter 14, text number 18. And this verse says, Urdvam gachanti sattvasta, madhye tistanti rajasa, jaganya guna vrittista, adho gachanti tamasa. Translation: those situated in a mode of goodness gradually go upward to the higher planets. Those in the mode of passion live on the earthly planets, and those in the abominable mode of ignorance go down to the hellish worlds. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. In this verse, the results of actions in the three modes of nature are more explicitly set forth. There is an upper planetary system consisting of the heavenly planets, where everyone is highly elevated according to the degree of development of the mode of goodness. The living entity can be transferred to various planets in this system. The highest planet is Satyaloka, or Brahmaloka, where the prime person of this universe, Lord Brahma, resides. We have seen already that we can hardly calculate the wondrous condition of life in Brahmaloka. But the highest condition of life, the mode of goodness, can bring us to this. The mode of passion is mixed. It is in the middle between the mode of goodness and ignorance. A person is not always pure, but even if he should be purely in the mode of passion, he will simply remain on this earth as a king or a rich man. But because there are mixtures, one can also go down. People on this earth in the mode of passion or ignorance cannot forcibly approach the higher planets by machine. In the mode of passion, there is also the chance of becoming mad. In the next slide, mad meaning completely crazy. Okay, so one very interesting statement here is that people on this earth in a mode of passionate ignorance cannot forcibly approach the higher planets by a machine, a rocket, or whatever. In the mode of passion, there's also the chance of becoming mad, meaning crazy, in the next life. Okay, so this continues. The lowest quality, the mode of ignorance, is described here as abominable, really, really bad. The result of developing ignorance is very, very risky. It is the lowest quality in material nature. Beneath the human level, there are 8 million species of life: birds, beasts, reptiles, trees, etc. And according to the development of the mode of ignorance, people are brought down to these abominable conditions. The word tamasa is very significant here. Tamasa indicates those who stay continuously in the mode of ignorance without rising to a higher mode. Their future is very dark. There is an opportunity for men in the modes of ignorance and passion to be elevated to the mode of goodness. Well, that's good news. And that system is called Krishna consciousness. But one who does not take advantage of this opportunity will certainly continue in the lower modes. Text number 19. Nanyam gunebhya kartaram yada drastan upasyati gunebhyascha paramviti madbhavam so digachati. When one properly sees that in all activities, no other performer is at work than these modes of nature, and he knows the Supreme Lord, who is transcendental to all these modes, he attains my spiritual nature. Okay, well, this is all knowledge and education to be able to know these things. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. One can transcend all the activities of the modes of material nature simply by understanding them properly, by learning from the proper soul. The real spiritual master is Krishna, and he is imparting this spiritual knowledge to Arjuna. Similarly, it is from those who are fully in Krishna consciousness that one has to learn the science of activities in terms of the modes of nature. Otherwise, one's life will be misdirected. By the instruction of a bona fide spiritual master, a living entity can know of his spiritual position, his material body, his senses, how he is entrapped, and how he is under the spell of the material modes of nature. He is helpless, being in the grip of these modes, but when he can see his real position, then he can attain one second. Okay, let's start again. But when he can see his real position, then he can attain to the transcendental platform, having the scope for spiritual life. Actually, the living entity is not the performer of different activities. He is forced to act because she is situated in a particular type of body, conducted by some particular mode of material nature. Unless one has the help of of spiritual authority, he cannot understand in what position he is actually situated. With the association of a bona fide spiritual master, he can see his real position, and by such an understanding, he can become fixed in full Krishna consciousness. A man in Krishna consciousness is not controlled by the spell of the material modes of nature. It has already been stated in the 7th chapter that one who has surrendered to Krishna is relieved from the activities of material nature. For one who is able to see things as they are, the influence of material nature gradually ceases. Very good. Hare Krishna. Text number 20. Gunanitan atititrin dehi deha samudbhavam. Janma mrityu jara dukkhaya vimukto mritam asrite. When the embodied being is able to transcend these three modes associated with the material body, he can become free from birth, death, old age, and their distresses, and can enjoy nectar in this life. That's really good information. How one can stay in the transcendental purport, how one can stay in the transcendental position, even in this body, in full Krishna consciousness, is explained in this verse. The Sanskrit word dehi means embodied. Although one is within this material body, by his advancement in spiritual knowledge, he can be free from the influence of the modes of nature. He can enjoy happiness of spiritual life, even in this body, because after leaving this body, he is certainly going to the spiritual sky. But even in this body, he can enjoy spiritual happiness. Okay, so you mentioned that twice. It says he can enjoy the happiness of spiritual life even in this body, because after leaving this body, he is certainly going to the spiritual side. But even in this body, he can enjoy spiritual happiness. In other words, devotional service in Krishna consciousness is the sign of liberation from material entanglement. And this will be explained in the 18th chapter. When one is freed from the influence of the modes of material nature, he enters into devotional service. Harivilas. Text 21. Arjuna Uvacha Kali Lingais String Gunan Etam Atito Bhavati Prabhu Kim Acharya Tatam Chaitams Trin Gunan Ativartate. Translation. Arjuna inquired, "O my dear Lord, by which symptoms is one known who is transcendental to these three modes? What is his behavior? How does he transcend the modes of nature?" All good questions. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In this verse, Arjuna's questions are very appropriate. He wants to know the symptoms of a person who has already transcended the material modes. He first inquires of the symptoms of such a transcendental person. How can one understand that he has already transcended the influence of the modes of material nature? The second question asks how he lives and what his activities are. Are they regulated or non-regulated? Then Arjuna inquires of the means by which he can attain the transcendental nature. That is very important. Unless one knows direct means by which one can be situated always transcendentally, there is no possibility of showing the symptoms. So, all these questions put by Arjuna are very important. And the Lord answers them. Excuse me. Text 22 to 25. Shri Bhagavan Uvachu. Prakasam cha parvatim cha moham eva cha pandava. Na dvesti sam pravrittani na nivritani kankasati. Kankasati. Udasina vad asino. Guna yona vichalyate. Guna vardhanta iti evam yo vatistati nengate. Samaduka sukha sta samalostama lostasma kanchana tulya priya priyo viras tulya nindatma samstuti. Mana pramanayos tulyas tulyo mitrari pakshayo. Sarvaramba parityaji gunatita sa uchete. Translation. The Supreme Lord of Godhead said, O son of Pama, he who does not hate illumination, attachment, and delusion when they are present, or long for them when they disappear, who is unwavering and undisturbed through all these reactions of the material qualities, remaining neutral and transcendental, knowing that the modes alone are active, who is situated in the self and regards alike happiness and distress, who looks upon a lump of earth, a stone, and a piece of gold with an equal eye, who is equal toward the desirable and the undesirable, who is steady, situated equally, well in praise and blame, honor and dishonor, who treats alike both friend and enemy, and who has renounced all material activities. Such a person is said to have transcended the modes of nature. Haribo, really nice verse. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Just one more place, Swami. Arjuna submitted 3 different questions, and the Lord answers them one after another. In these verses, Krishna first indicates that a person transcendentally situated has no envy and does not hanker for anything. When living entity stays in this material world, embodied by the material body, it is to be understood that he is under the control of one of the three modes of material nature. When he is actually out of the body, then he is out of the clutches of the material modes of nature. But as long as he is not out of the material body, he should be neutral. Very important. He should engage himself in the devotional service of the Lord so that his identity with the material body will automatically be forgotten. When one is conscious of the material body, he acts only for sense gratification. But when one transfers the consciousness to Krishna, sense gratification automatically stops. One does not need his material body, and he does not need to accept the dictations of the material body. The qualities of the material modes in the body will act, but as a spirit soul, the self is aloof from such activities. How does he become aloof? He does not desire to enjoy the body, nor does he desire to get out of it. Thus, transcendently situated, the devotee becomes automatically free. He need not try to become free from the influence of the modes of material nature. The next question concerns the dealings of a transcendentally situated person. The materially situated person is affected by so-called honor and dishonor offered to the body. But the transcendentally situated person is not affected by such false honor and dishonor. He performs his duty in Krishna consciousness and does not mind whether a man honors or dishonors him. He accepts things that are favorable for his duty in Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, he has no necessity of anything material. Either a stone or gold, he takes everyone as his dear friend, who helps him in his execution of Krishna consciousness, and he does not hate his so-called enemy. He is equally disposed and sees everything on an equal level because he knows perfectly well that he has nothing to do with material existence. Social and political issues do not affect him because he knows the situation of temporary upheavals and disturbances. He does not attempt anything for his own sake. He can attempt anything for Krishna, but for his personal self, he does not attempt anything. By such behavior, one becomes actually transcendentally situated. Very nice purport. Beautiful. Text 26. Mam chayo vipicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunam samatidhyaitan brahmabhuyaya kalpate. Let's see how much time we have left. We're almost finished, right?
Yeah.
One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. Very nice. Let me read that again. One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. This verse is a reply to Arjuna's third question. What is the means of attaining to the transcendental position? Well, that's a good question. As explained before, the material world is acting under the spell of the modes of material nature. One should not be disturbed by the activities of the modes of nature. Instead of putting his consciousness into such activities, he may transfer his consciousness to Krishna activities. Krishna activities are known as bhakti yoga, always acting for Krishna. This includes not only Krishna, but his different plenary expansions, such as Rama and Narayana. He has innumerable expansions. One who is engaged in the service of any of the forms of Krishna or his plenary expansions is considered to be transcendentally situated. One should also know that all the forms of Krishna are fully transcendental. I know that's very important. One should also know that all the forms of Krishna are fully transcendental, blissful, full of knowledge, and eternal. Such personalities of Godhead are omnipotent and omniscient. In other words, they have all powers and they have all knowledge. And they possess all transcendental qualities. So, if one engages himself in the service of Krishna or his plenary expansions with unfailing determination, although these modes of material nature are very difficult to overcome, one can overcome them easily. Oh, so nice. This has already been explained in the 7th chapter. One who surrenders unto Krishna at once surmounts the influence of the modes of material nature. To be in Krishna consciousness or in devotional service means to acquire equality with Krishna. That's very good. The Lord says that his name is eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge. And the living entities are part and parcel of the Supreme, as gold particles are part of a gold mine. Thus, the living entity in his spiritual position is as good as gold, as good as Krishna in quality. The difference of individually, the difference of individually, no, I'm sorry, the difference of individuality continues. Otherwise, there would be no question of bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga means that the Lord is there, the devotee is there, and the activity of exchange of love between the Lord and the devotee is there. Therefore, the individuality of two persons is present in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the individual person. Otherwise, there would be no meaning to bhakti yoga. So bhakti yoga, you have to have the Lord and you have to have the servant of the Lord. If one is not situated in the same transcendental position with the Lord, one cannot serve the Supreme Lord. To be a personal assistant to a king, one must acquire the qualifications. Thus, the qualification is to become Brahman, or freed from all material contamination. It is said in the Vedic literature, Brahmayeva san Brahmapyama Brahmapi eti. Let's read that again. It is said in the Vedic literature, Brahmayeva san Brahmapi eti. One can attain the supreme Brahman by becoming Brahman. This means that one must qualitatively become one with Brahman. By attainment of Brahman, one does not lose his eternal Brahman identity as an individual soul. Okay, so then let's get one thing straight. What does it mean when you say Brahman? Brahman means the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Okay. Are we finished? Yeah. Are we finished?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, my dear devotees, we'll stop right there. Are there any questions or comments you would like to make? Any questions or comments? Any questions or comments? Any questions or comments? Okay.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances and glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Oh, go right ahead.
Guru Maharaj, can you please explain the takeaway from this?
Okay, the takeaway for today is the following. It says, as explained before, the material world is acting under the spell of the modes of material nature. One should not be disturbed by the activities of the modes of nature. Instead of putting his consciousness into such activities, he may transfer his consciousness to Krishna activities. Krishna activities are known as Bhakti Yoga, always acting for Krishna. This includes not only Krishna, but his different plenary expansions, such as Rama and Narayana. He has innumerable expansions. One who is engaged in the service of any of the forms of Krishna or of his plenary expansion is considered to be transcendentally situated. One should note also that all the forms of Krishna are fully transcendental, blissful, full of knowledge, and eternal. Such personalities of Godhead are omnipotent and omniscient. So omnipotent means they have all powers, and omniscient means that they know everything. And they possess all transcendental qualities. So if one engages himself in the service of Krishna or his plenary expansions with unfailing determination, although these modes of material nature are very difficult to overcome, one can overcome them easily. This has already been explained in the 7th chapter. One who surrenders unto Krishna at once surmounts the influence of the modes of material nature. To be in Krishna consciousness or in devotional service means to acquire equality with Krishna. The Lord says that his nature is eternal, blissful and full of knowledge. And the living entities are part and parcel of the Supreme, as gold particles are part of a gold mine. Thus, the living entity in a spiritual position is as good as gold, as good as Krishna in quality. The difference of individuality continues, otherwise, there would be no question of bhakti yoga. In bhakti yoga, you need two people. You need God and you need the servant of God. Okay, so this is our takeaway for today. To summarize the takeaway is the following. One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman, meaning transcendental level, where you're no longer influenced by the modes of material nature. So we could take this very seriously. We should be engaged in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, meaning in all times, all situations. We never stop engagement in devotional service. And if we do that, then we transcend the modes of material nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance. And we come to transcendental goodness. That means, thus, we come to the level of Brahman and go even further to transcendental goodness. Okay, that is our takeaway for today. Are there any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So, Guru Maharaj, in the morning, and we are continuing tonight. So, in the morning, we discussed the takeaway that Krishna and all the directions, sun, moon, all the demigods, they are witness to whatever I'm doing. And Krishna is also cause of causes. Without his sanction, not even a blade of grass can move. And now Bhagavad Gita is confirming like the full devotional service that at all circumstances, at every time, to transcend the mode of material nature. So it's like a triangle. One side we know that Krishna, and we have to have Krishna's unflinching faith, and then Krishna is witnessing it and focusing on full devotional service. So what are the like is there a is there a failback criteria, like 100% guarantee that I can go back to Goloka? Is there a like what are the symptoms I should be watching that should not bring me down, should not bring me falter? Like when I know all these things, when Krishna is witness, so but when I go into the whole day, I realize that I'm all the time busy in office work or this work or that work. The days are passing day by day. So my question is, when I know these truths, right? These truths which are eternal truth, then how do I ensure that I just tread on that path and not falter down and actually get the mission of human life?
It's by engaging in devotional service. You're engaging in devotional service when you distribute books, when you listen to the classes, when you are serving in the temple. As long as you're engaged in devotional service, you are in Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness means devotional service. And that's why it says, this verse today says, text 26, the translation says, one who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. Well, the level of Brahman means you're transcendentally situated. That's what the verse is. Text 26. One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. So if you continue your full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, right away you transcend the modes of material nature and then come to the level of Brahman, meaning transcendental life. Does that answer your question?
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, so our takeaway for today. Yeah, there's so many takeaways in these purports. It says Krishna activities are known as Bhakti Yoga, always acting for Krishna. This includes not only Krishna, but his different plenary expansions, such as Rama and Narayana. He has innumerable expansions. One who is engaged in the service of any of the forms of Krishna or of his plenary expansions is considered to be transcendentally situated. One should also note that all the forms of Krishna are fully transcendental, blissful, full of knowledge, and eternal. Such personalities of Godhead are omnipotent, meaning they have all power, and omniscient, meaning they know everything. And they possess all transcendental qualities. So, if one engages himself in the service of Krishna or his plenary expansions with unfailing determination, although these modes of material nature are very difficult to overcome, one can overcome them easily. This has already been explained in the 7th chapter. One who surrenders unto Krishna at once surmounts the influence of the modes of material nature. To be in Krishna consciousness or in devotional service means to acquire equality with Krishna. The Lord says that his nature is eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge, and the living entities are part and parcel of the Supreme, as gold particles are part of a gold mine. Thus, the living entity in a spiritual position is as good as gold, as good as Krishna in quality. Okay? That's our takeaway for today.
So, Guru Maharaj, when Bharat Maharaj, he fell down, as Jad Bharat, and because of the deer and then Jad Bharat, and he acted as dumb in his third life, right? And even we hear, right, that even Gajendra Moksha, Gajendra was human life, and then finally he became, due to some reason, he became Gajendra, and then he got the moksha. And even Gautam Buddha, Lord himself incarnated as Gautam Buddha. And he, I mean, of course, as Lord Chaitanya, he preached Sankirtan movement, but as Lord Buddha, he preached, he took sannyas, right? So my question is, when devotees of the level of Bharat Maharaj, they have to take three births.
Buddha taught non-violence.
Yes. So when Bharat Maharaj, he took three births to get out of this material world. So I don't know. I'm thinking that he has to act dumb to get to that level, to get out of this material world. So as per Prabhupada and as per your guidance, so we have to focus only on devotional service and not worry about anything else. Whether we get out in this birth or 10 births doesn't matter.
Yes. Yes. We should always be engaged in devotional service. And that's what this verse says today, text 26.
Which chapter?
No,
14.
chapter 14, text 26.
Okay, thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 14, text 26. One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. And the level of Brahman means you are liberated.
Maharaj, we need to go to the Bellevue temple.
Okay.
So,
All right, we'll stop right there. I think you understand that, right, Mataji?
Yes, yes, Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much. Thank you, Prabhu, for letting us know that Guru Maharaj is coming to Bellevue Temple. Thank you very much.
okay, yeah, Hari Bol Mataji.
Hari.
Thank you, Hari.